All right, hello there, and welcome to Proverbs 26. We are winding down the Proverbs, and as we have been doing, we're going to take a look at a few of these, starting with verses 4 and 5. In verse 4, it says, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself." In verse 5, it says, "Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes." Hold up. Did Proverbs just contradict itself? Let's talk about this for a moment. So obviously these two verses are meant to be read together to really paint the full picture here. And so really what this is talking about is choosing your battles, right? Like sometimes it's not worth it to engage in whatever the debate is, whatever the issue is, whatever the person's doing. Sometimes it's not worth engaging in it. Why? Because they're not going to listen to you anyway. In Proverbs, again, that's really what it's talking about here is it worth it to engage in this before? Because inevitably you have had these conversations before. Inevitably, maybe you have, somebody did something, you told them, no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. And they went ahead and did it anyway. Or after they did it, they do it again, even though you told them that's a mistake. And maybe they acknowledge, oh yeah, you're right, I shouldn't have done that, but yet they still return to that action or whatever that is. Proverbs is basically saying here in verse 4, answer not a fool according to his folly, because you know what? Lest you be like him yourself. So to engage with a fool is to make yourself a fool, right? Because it's a waste of time. Like why would you use all of this energy, all of this time, all of these resources on this fool who's not going to listen to you? And it seems kind of harsh, and it's not. I mean, of course, you're still meant to love this person. Never stop loving this person, but use your resources wisely. If you've told this person, 1,000 times, the 1,001th time you tell them, are they going to listen? Maybe, maybe not. Again, Proverbs it's not a book of promises. It's a book of principles. So in general. Right, so maybe that's the case for the 1,001th time they listen. In general, probably not. And so in verse 5 it says, "Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes." So if you just let a fool continue to make these mistakes, they're going to be wise in their own eyes. They're going to be like, oh, I'm making the right decisions. Oh, put the second mortgage on my house so I can buy this car. It's going to seem like a really good idea to them because they're going to have a really nice car. But it's a mistake. So you stop them. You say, no, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. And so really, again, they're just meant to be read really together as a pair. So choose your battles, right? Is it worth expending all this energy to go for this correction, or is it better just to let it be? Again, it's going to vary based on the circumstances, but not a contradiction by any means. So let's look at another one here. I think this is my favorite proverb. Proverb 26 verse 11. Word of God, guys. Like a dog that returns to his vomit is a fool who repeats his folly. So I don't know if you have any dogs out there, but for whatever reason, sometimes dogs, when they vomit, they like to lick it back up. And Proverbs is talking about the fool that keeps doing the same thing over and over again. Think back to 4 and 5 that we just talked about. That fool that keeps returning to this, yeah, they're like a dog that keeps just lapping up their vomit, like, and then they lap it back up, and yeah, I think that's enough. I think that one's pretty clear. But that's the idea here. Again, it's the word of God. It's an amazing thing. Let's look at one more. Let's stick with the dog theme here. And verse 17, it says, "Whoever meddles in a quarrel not his own." So whoever gets involved in something that's not this is not their battle, is like one who takes a passing dog by the ears, right? So to get involved in this dispute, this fight, whatever this is, it's like taking the dog, grabbing the dog by its ears. And if you've ever done that, I can imagine the dog wouldn't be very happy. And depending on the nature of the dog, instead of just wagging it off, you might try to bite you or something like that. So be careful. Be careful about, and again, I can't stress this enough. Proverbs is not a book of promises by any means. It's not a book of definites. It's principles. So in general, this is the way you should live your life. Now, are there going to be quarrels that you may need to intercede in? Certainly that may be the case, and situations vary. But in general, Proverbs is saying, don't get in the middle of something that you don't need to get in the middle of. And if something doesn't involve you, for some reason we like to interject ourselves here. And if it's for the role of mediator, then hats off to you. But if it's just to stir things up a little bit, don't do that. Don't do that. You're better off pulling the angry dog's ears as he passes by than to get in the middle of that quarrel. So make smart decisions, right? Choose where you expend your energy wisely. Don't be the dog that returns to his pile of puke, and don't put yourself in the middle of a fight that isn't yours. The Word of God, Proverbs 26. We'll see you in the next video.